Recite inwardly without moving your tongue the words. God is with me. God is watching over me. God is my witness. There are those who have been granted understanding by virtue of their maintaining the practice of what is commanded and the avoidance of what is forbidden, both inwardly and outwardly, and by their affirmation of it, the Quran, with the light of the insight of certainty, Nur Basirat al-Yaqeen, which is, in effect, the heart's reliance on God, exalted as He, in every state and in any situation. They attach no importance to melodies, in the recitation, or the delight that may be aroused by the charm of contrived vocal embellishments. Their only concern is with trying to understand, and asking God for an increase in such understanding with regard to His commands and prohibitions, and what is intended by the ordinances concerning that which He has made obligatory, and, hence, that which is prescribed by the Sunnah of His Prophet. These people act upon the knowledge they have of it, ever seeking God's aid, and are steadfast in carrying it out, as He commanded them when He said, "Pray for help from God and be patient." 7 to 128. That is, seek God's aid in fulfilling His command, in the obligatory way that is the way of God, and be steadfast in carrying it out both inwardly and outwardly, so that He may impart to you understanding, discernment and that which He wants from you, as a grace from Him. So, those whom I have described, do not pay attention to beautiful voices. It is to them that God has granted the understanding of the Quran. They are the elect of God and His friends, Aliyah. They have nothing to do with this world and the world has no claim on them, nor do they have any desire for what is in paradise. He took the world away from them, but they did not mind, and when He gave it to them they refused it, just as their prophet had refused it when it was presented to him. They cast themselves before God in contentment and reliance on Him. They said, "We cannot do without you. You are you, and we have no desire for other than you." They are the ones who have isolated themselves for God, Mutafaridin, mentioned by the Prophet. He said, "Walk the way of those who are solely dependent, Mutafaridin, on the mercy of God, exalted as He." Single quote. They inquired, "Who are the Mutafaridin, O Messenger of God?" He replied, "They are those who have become ecstatic, Ataru, in the remembrance of God, exalted as He. They will come on the day of resurrection light, of load. For, their remembrance will have lifted from them their burdens, of sin." Saul then said, concerning this hadith, "They are the sheikhs, or spiritual masters, who are ecstatic in the remembrance of God, dhikr, for which they are said, God, exalted as He, constantly, assembled, as the Prophet says, I keep company with the one who remembers me. Whenever my servant seeks me out, he will find me." Quote. It was narrated on the authority of Ibn Masud said, "The one who knows the Quran by heart should be known for his vigil at night while people are asleep, for his fasting during the day while people are eating, for his sorrow while people are rejoicing, for his weeping when people are laughing, and for his silence when people are talking. Thus he who knows the Quran by heart should be tearful, sorrowful, wise and learned, not hard-hearted and deceptive, that is to say, not dishonest." Single quote. How amazing it is that someone can read the Quran, but then not act according to it, nor avoid what God forbids in it. Does such a person not feel shame before God for his contentiousness and rebellion against Him and against that which He has commanded and prohibited, even after having the knowledge of it? Is there anything of greater enormity than this contention? Has he not heard His promise and threat? Does he not listen to what God has promised him through admonishing examples, so that he might have compassion on himself and repent? Has he not heard His words, "Surely the mercy of God is near to the virtuous," 7:56, that he might strive to do good? Has he not heard His words, "And my mercy has precedence over my punishment," so that he might long for His mercy? Then Saul said, "O God, you honored them with this beautiful gift, the Quran, and you privileged them with this favor. O God, pardon us and them." The knower who sees the real in everything will be innately happy with everything, such that she will share that joy with others. Whether rich, poor, young, or old, all will receive equally kind treatment from her, because all of them are to that knower, equally deserving of pity, having busied themselves with useless things. The knower's kindness, it seems, resembles that of an adult among children, a superior among inferiors. While this might hint at arrogance to us, arrogance is an aggrandizement of self-worth, an undue claim. The knower's view of her achieved self, however, is merely an acknowledgement of reality. Moreover, the knower has courage, generosity, forgiveness, and clemency because she knows the truth. The virtues are accidental to her knowledge. She knows that death is meaningless, which means she fears nothing and is hence naturally brave. She knows that wealth is meaningless, and will neither add nor, in its absence, take away from her relationship with the real, making her unattached to wealth and hence naturally generous. She knows that the soul is entirely a mirror for the real, or ought to be, and so can only be affected by its own success or failure in that regard, not by the actions or wrongdoings of others, making her naturally forgiving. She has no sense of needing the kindness or affirmation of others. She is self-contained. She knows that the only occupation for the knower is being near the real, or remembering the real, so she has no interest in harboring resentments and thinking upon what has passed between herself and others, and thus she is naturally clement. The knower has flown so far above the needs of the body, and so deeply into the realms of light. The one who remembers God constantly, and who abandons choice, ikhtiar, supplication, dua, and petitioning, swal, will be granted the best that could be desired, and the ills of petitioning and choice will fall away from him. To those whose remembrance of me kept them from petitioning me, I will grant the best that petitioners ask for.